Knocked Out with Brendan Tobin and Sean Levine on the BetQL network.
What's good? Welcome back into the show. It is fight night from England, and it is going down. BT, I remember last week we were talking about the Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape fight, and you said, let's wait and see if Manel Kape makes the walk, because I think he's missed like 7 fights that he was supposed to. Well, he made the walk. He's a plus 130 underdog. They get inside the octagon. This is going down like as we speak. And next thing you know, a bunch of security guards and other UFC referees have to jump in and separate the two guys before the fight even started. Where are we right now? Like, is the fight, I assume it's still happening.
It's still going on right now. I mean, we're about to cross the first minute of round number 1, and it's a lot of sizing each other up, a lot of distance. There has not been a real brouhaha that has started off, so I guess all of that security was a little bit unnecessary because these guys are sizing each other up. Mokaev's dancing on the outside, and Kape isn't really throwing, so a lot of looking at each other right now, Sean.
I mean, why? Very weird. So I don't know if I set that up well, but they basically tried to fight before Bruce Buffer introduced them, and now that the fight's actually started, it sounds like they're not fighting. So I'm
legitimately
curious if this one goes down.
We've just had a kick thrown. That was literally the first strike thrown in the last 90 seconds.
What a weird sport. We love this mixed martial arts, don't we? I like Manel Kape, but I'll see how that live line adjusts. All right, UFC Sphere show has been introduced. That's September 14th. We talked about it a little bit. Sean O'Malley versus Merab. This is not only going to be the biggest production when it comes to money that Dana White has ever spent, but you have to think it's going to get a lot of pay-per-view money, and it's going to get a lot of people talking about it. Not only is it at a very cool venue, but it's also got probably the coolest fighter in the game right now, Sean O'Malley, marquee fight.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Like, look, for anybody who's never been to a UFC fight, it's just different from other fight events that you go to. Like, I've been to some pretty cool things. I've seen Canelo. I've seen Manny Pacquiao. I've gone to Jerry's World to see Errol Spence. Gone to PFL. I've gone to Bellator. I've gone to BKFC.
This guy.
There's nothing like. But John, you've been to a UFC event. There's nothing like it. Like the production, the atmosphere, the energy from jump. It's so good, dude. So if anyone is going to take that stupid overgrown IMAX theater and make it something cool, it's going to be Dana White.
What's your problem with the Sphere? I've been wanting to go to the Sphere in Las Vegas since I saw them start to build that thing like 5 years ago. The building looks incredible on the outside, cooler on the inside. It's amazing they're going to have a fight there, and all you do is talk smack. Seriously, what's your problem? You sound like my grandfather.
I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, we've all been to an IMAX theater before to see, a planetarium or sharks on the ceiling. It's not that big a deal. But you know what? People, I don't want to be a wet blanket on it. I'm sure it's going to be cool. And like I said, if anybody's going to turn it into the coolest thing ever, I'm sure it's going to be the UFC. But we got to grow up a little bit. Oh, it turns it into looking like the moon.
Dude, I haven't been there in person, but my best friend Ian has said it was life-changing. Saw you too. So until I go, I'm not going to.
He saw you too, and he thought it was life-changing?
Yeah, I know. I said the same thing. What a weirdo. As far as that fight goes, though, this feels like this. What happened? Somebody get knocked out?
Mokaev almost. He throws a spinning wheel kick, and the Kape just ducks out of the way.
It feels like this division. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, just nothing of significance yet. A lot of dancing, but no. It's kind of a tough round to score, to be honest with you.
I bet Manel Kape just now at plus 150 on the live line. So let me know if something good happens there. We've been talking about this division that O'Malley's been trying to get to the top of for a while now. Now he's here. Now he's starting to defend his belt. It's kind of interesting because Merab feels like the right fighter at the right time, if that makes sense, right? You've already fought Jan. You've already fought Aljo. Aljo and Merab are best friends. As you point out, they weren't ever going to fight each other. We've talked about maybe at one point it was going to be Cejudo or Corey Sandhagen. There have been a lot of names. To me, this is the one where I think if O'Malley goes out there and does what he did against Aljo, and he knocks both those guys out that came from that same Matt Serra camp, at that point, nobody's going to question Sean O'Malley. I still think there's some doubters out there. I'm not exactly sure why. This is the one, though, that shuts everybody up if you knock out Merab.
I would agree with that. I think that this is definitely like you can't really hold anything because then he's taking on the two best grapplers. He's taking on a dangerous striker. He's beating Petr Yan. There'll be some calls because we got a fight coming up. Is it next week or the week after where we have Stanhagen, Umar Nurmagomedov? Winner of that's essentially going to be the number one contender. But I don't think that there'll be any. I think it'd be pretty hard to be hating on Sean O'Malley after a complete win over Merab. You know, I think that this is definitely an opponent that can question a lot because he's earned his way to the top. I think everybody really. Strangely, people seem to really root for Merab when they don't for Bilal Muhammad, who had trouble getting his title fight. But either way, this is really cool. I'm happy. It's a fun matchup. And then if he gets a win, it is going to be interesting, Sean, because he's now been on top. Does he then start eyeballing 145? Where does he go from there? Those are going to be interesting questions. But first, he's got a big task coming with Merab.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because it'd be about the same point in McGregor's career when he tried to become and eventually did become the champ or the double champ, as he called himself. So I wouldn't be at all surprised Merab defends the belt and then tries to switch weight classes and become a champ. In the case of Merab, do you think he wins the fight? I know we're still a couple of months away, but what's your early lean in this one? It's basically to go off as a pick 'em.
It's a tough one, man. I do think. I think I lean actually Sean. I think I lean Sean because I'm worried about the size difference. And Sean being as lanky, as fast as he is. And I just think that's going to be a tough ask for Merab to get inside, avoid. We see all those knees that he was able to hit Chito Vera with. He's such a sniper from the outside. So I think that's a tough ask to say, hey, get inside, don't get knocked out. And I just think if he's able to do it, then I think Merab get there. But I just think it's a big ask to get those paws on Sean O'Malley and send him for a ride. I think that Sean's actually got some good tools to win this fight.
Do you see the irony here, BT, that you're complimenting Sean O'Malley's size? And one time Sean O'Malley called you the fat guy on the left. I just feel like I have to point that out, but it's really neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't take any ill. Like he was a little sensitive about it. That's fine because he wasn't up on top yet. And by the way, I still wasn't wrong in my stance. I was, you were
wrong.
I
wasn't.
Wrong.
It was what
I really wasn't.
It was like a year ago that we got in the argument. Is O'Malley the most popular fighter? And okay,
no.
Is he now? Is he now?
I don't know if he is. Is it him or is it Pereira? Who's the bigger star?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like a jerk saying this, but if Pereira, if he spoke English and you could communicate a little bit better with, I guess, the more common fan base, because O'Malley, that's part of his shtick, is not just behind the microphone in the octagon, but he's got his podcast and he's got all these different things that he promotes where I don't really think it's that close. If you want to talk about who's a more fun fighter to watch, now you're getting into a conversation. But who's a more popular fighter? I'm pretty sure it's Sean O'Malley.
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what, as a guy, I went to Sean's last fight, obviously, and I thought what was very interesting is his fan base is very, very young. Now, I will say it's Miami. It's got to be graded on a little bit of a curve because we obviously are the gateway to Latin America. All of Ecuador came out for that fight. Like everybody, like it was a crazy amount of people who came there to root for Chito Vera, which I was very surprised by because I remember when I was asking Chito about that, he goes, I'm already a hero. I don't need the belt. And I was like, oh, all right, sorry. And he was right. Like everybody came out. But I did find it interesting. It skewed very young Sean O'Malley's fans. I still think he's probably top 3, but I think that for me right now, I'd say Pereira, Max Holloway, John, still all I think have claims to be bigger than Sean O'Malley, but he's top 5. I mean, like he is one of the biggest stars. Like if he wants to be mad about it, I don't want him to be mad about it. I literally said at the time it was Jorge Masvidal. It was a bigger deal. And by the way, I was right.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can put John in there because he doesn't really fight. Same thing with Conor McGregor. And the thing
Fair
about
enough.
Pereira
I didn't put Conor in there.
Do we think that Pereira is more popular than Izzy was at his peak?
I kind of do. Like I don't know. There's just something about
saying that. You're not alone. I disagree, but you're not alone.
I just think because the thing with Izzy's cool, but Izzy, it feels like it's a coin flip every time if you're going to get a good fight or not, right? Like every time Izzy went in there, it's like, is this going to be a good fight? maybe we see something really cool. Pereira's got something to him where right now it's a Tyson-like aura where it's like, this guy's going to go in there. Will you survive? Like, that's the questions we got. Like, that's how it feels watching him fight right now.
That was scary when you said that, dude. Will you survive? And that is what it feels like when you watch Pereira fight. And you're right. Like, you think about Izzy, some great fights, but then also some fights like he had against Joel Romero and the fight like he had against an aging Anderson Silva. He's had against Marvin Vittori, even the Paulo Costa fight. Yeah, you're right. He's had some snoozers. The co-main event, by the way, in the Sphere is Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. What's your early lead in the co-main for the ladies?
I gotta tell you, we've been talking about how the ladies need a bit of a big fight, and then this rematch I feel like is going to bring some of that, because curious to see where Valentina's at in her career. Like, this was such a big win by Alexa to go out there, get the finish the way she did. I think we were all like, holy crap, she did what in that fight?
Right.
I was not expecting that, and so there's a bit of me that's like, all right, is this Juliana versus Nunes too? Is this going to be a fluke and all is going to be right with the universe and the bullet's back, or is the bullet washed? Like, is the bullet getting to a point where she's just not the same anymore? So I love this fight. This is probably as excited as I've been for a women's fight in a long time, because I think it's going to say a lot about where one of the all-time greats is and what she's got left in her career.
And I hope the bullet still has a few shots left, because, yeah, I love Valentina Shevchenko. She hasn't looked necessarily the same recently like we've gotten used to. Right now it feels like it's kind of Weili and everybody else when it comes to the women's game, so I still hope that Valentina is there. Speaking of rematches, I don't know if you call it a rematch because we never got to see it. Ortega versus Diego Lopez lined up for that night also. Friend of the show, Brian Ortega. We had a very weird, interesting interview with him. I originally that night had a lot of money on Ortega. Then I watched Diego Lopez go out there, and I'm like, I know that he was fighting Dan Ige on short notice, so I'm not going to hold anything against 50K. But, dude, Diego Lopez is a problem.
Oh, he definitely is. No, he is certainly a problem. And I do think that, we saw a little bit of a young guy get, a little worn down maybe by the stresses of a fight week by the end of that. Now he'll have all the preparation, hopefully, to take on Brian Ortega, because certainly Brian Ortega went through a lot. I don't know what the hell was going on there that week. Like, it was, divine intervention. We learned about divine intervention. We learned about turtles. Like, it was a strange time with our boy, but but hey, great eyes, great hair. Hopefully he's healthy and we got a great matchup.
He does have really soft eyes, and I love it when he puts the hair in the cornrows. But is he going to win the fight? Because we're trying to make some money. After all, it is the BetQL network. Oh, also on that card, Raul Rosas Jr. fights. Can I get what does our boy say? Chihuihuis? Can I get one from you?
I'm not saying that.
I didn't think you would. I honestly didn't think you would. We got like a minute and a half left. The last segment was called "You Gonna Fight Me." I got one more for you. All right. Are you going to fight me if I say the Dolphins are going to regret that Tua contract about 2 years from
No,
now?
I am going to fight you on that. I don't think they are going to regret it. I think Mike McDaniel has his guy. I'm happy that it got done. I'm a little surprised that it did get done, Sean, to be honest with you. I felt like the vibes were very much this is going to be a frosty camp. And then, I don't know, he didn't practice on Wednesday at all. Then he came out and practiced, was it for whatever? He didn't practice. No, he didn't practice Thursday, and then Wednesday he came out or Friday he did come out and practice through a bomb, and then the deal was done. So I'm happy for Tua. It's a great story. The guy's been through a lot of adversity in his career. Certainly glad that he got his bag, but look, dude, you got to go out there, and now there's no more excuses. You got to go get it done. He's got all the weapons in the world. There's still some other bigger questions really with the Dolphins. I think the defense have a lot more questions than the offense does. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun year. I can't wait for it. But I don't think they're going to regret it. I like to. I think he's a good quarterback.
So the two quarterbacks that got paid this weekend, because Jordan Love got the bag also, if you could have either one as your quarterback for the next 3 years, who would you rather have? Because Jordan Love winning that playoff game, dude, like he just looked different at the end of last season.
He did look very good. He looked really good. I'm still going to go with Tua because I think
That's
Tua was actually that's my guy. But I think Jordan Love is tremendous, and I think that that's a pretty great thing that all 4 of those quarterbacks from that draft class have all been locked up. That's not something that happens very typically in a draft class.
Coming up next, before we get out of here, I really find out who your guy is at UFC 304. Are you a Leon guy or Bilal? Are you an Aspinall or are you a Blades? Are you King Green or Patty the Batty Pimblett? I like Molly McCann tonight. I love me some Arnold Almighty Allen. Coming up next, turn up your radio because it's a chance to make some money. It's called The Method to the Madness. We're going to tell you who wins the fight, how they win, and when it goes down. Before we get out of here, it's Tapped Out on a Saturday night right here on the BetQL Network.